Have you ever heard of the Battle of Waterloo? Of course, you have. But have you heard of the Battle of the Bunnies? Probably not. It's one of history's most bizarre and, frankly, hilarious moments. Starring none other than Napoleon Bonaparte himself. The year is 1807. Napoleon is at the absolute peak of his power. He's just signed the treaties of Tilsit, effectively making him the master of Europe. To celebrate this momentous occasion, he decided to organize a grand rabbit hunt. What could possibly go wrong? His chief of staff, Alexander Berthier, was tasked with arranging the festivities. Berthier wanted to make it a truly spectacular event, so he didn't just find a few wild rabbits. Oh no, he went out and bought thousands of them, some reports say as many as 3,000 from local farmers. These weren't wild, scrappy bunnies, they were domesticated rabbits, used to being fed by humans. And that, my friends, is where the trouble began. On the day of the hunt, Napoleon and his entourage of military bigwigs arrived, ready for sport. The rabbits were released from their cages, and the hunters took their positions. But instead of scampering away in fear, the rabbits did something completely unexpected. They saw Napoleon, this great and powerful emperor, and they didn't see a threat. They saw a giant, walking head of lettuce. The army of fluffy bunnies, thousands strong, turned and charged. Not away from the hunting party, but directly towards them. They swarmed to Napoleon, hopping up his legs, looking for the food they were accustomed to receiving. Imagine the scene, the most powerful man in Europe, the conqueror of nations, being overwhelmed by a tidal wave of fluffy bunnies. At first, it was probably funny, but the tide of rabbits kept coming. They divided into two flanks and poured around the sides of the imperial party, surrounding Napoleon. He tried waving them away with his riding crop, his guards tried shooing them, but it was useless. The rabbits were relentless in their quest for a snack. Eventually, the great emperor had to make a tactical retreat. He fled to his imperial carriage, but the bunnies pursued him. Some even managed to leap into the carriage with him. The attack only ceased when the carriage finally pulled away, leaving a field of very confused, and presumably still very hungry, rabbits. So, the man who couldn't be stopped by the combined armies of Austria and Russia was ultimately defeated by a fluffy horde. It's a humbling and hilarious reminder that no matter how powerful you are, you should never, ever underestimate a hungry rabbit. What's the most unbelievable historical story you've ever heard? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this little trip into the bizarre side of history, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories you probably didn't learn in school. Thanks for watching.